Here.
Member Gash.
Here.
Member Simonsky.
Present.
And oh gosh, brain freeze.
Member Rose
Thank you. Member Rose.
is not here.
Not here. And Hannah's last name. Member
Hodge.
Thank you. Thank you, Eva. Is absent as well.
Okay. Is that it, Liam?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is to approve the minutes from of the November 9th, 2020 meeting. This was also in the agenda packet.
And just a quick note, even if you're not at the last meeting, you still can vote on the minutes.
Okay. So if people have had it, they're just summary minutes. So if there are no comments on the minutes or corrections, could I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes from November meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. And then I guess we have to have a roll call vote. Okay.
Yes, but before that, we have a member of the public that raised their hand.
Oh, all right. Sorry, didn't see that. I don't know how to act. Well, go ahead and speak, I guess.
Yes, staff is going to set up a timer here really quickly.
Okay.
Member of the public. So just give us 1 second, Jeremiah.
Okay.
Does this have to do with the minutes?
I was just gonna say I approve the minutes. And then I'm waiting for my public comment.
Great.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll remember. We'll keep an eye out for that.
All right. Right. So we have to call the roll on the approving the minutes.
Yes. And it was seconded, correct, by Member Gash?
Yes.
Member Black?
Yes.
Member Gash?
Yes.
Member Goodman?
Yes.
And Member Simonsky?
Yes.
It passes. Approved.
Okay. Moving along, then the next is the section of public comment. And this for anyone wanting to address the committee on an item that is not on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. And the Brown Act limits the commission's ability to take the committee's ability to take in or discuss items that are not on the agenda. And such items are normally referred to staff for comment or to a future agenda. So is there anyone wishing to make public comment? I think there was one person.
We do have one member of the public.
I think somehow he got removed, so.
No, I know, and I apologize. That's my fault. There wasn't an option so he's rejoining. There wasn't an option to move back to participant. So here he is. Jeremiah, I apologize.
Hey,
Jeremiah, go ahead. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
yeah, sorry. I've been cut from this meeting twice and I had to
We
reload.
apologize. Go ahead.
They were
Now's your
out.
time.
Thank you. Hey, I just want to start by saying I just had the most wonderful art teacher when I was at Albany High School, Mr. Hill. And I don't know if anybody remembers Mr. Hill or knows Mr. Hill at all. He was a wonderful art teacher. I mean, I got a B+ in his class. I didn't get an A. And my thing was always like, how could you really grade art, you know? But I understood there was actually, you can actually get graded on art. You know, it's basically the more time you spend on your artwork and things like that, and how you learn how to draw faces and shadowing and things like that. You know, when I was at Albany High School, actually my parents, Joe Pinguello and my mom, Melinda Garrett, they even had Mr. Hill as an art teacher. And I would just want to push for arts. We have so many great artists in Albany regarding students and everybody. You know, I think we should be pushing art more than we do. I mean, even maybe spring and haiku. I know it's an agenda item, but maybe we can have some artwork associated with that. Maybe people could draw pictures, spring into haiku or something. I'm trying to switch screens to my timer. But I just want to give out a shout out to Mr. Hill. And I've got 1:30 left. Okay. So, yeah, I just think, you know, the waves at Ocean View School, the waves right there, the gray cement.
Mhm.
Thanks for saying, I appreciate that. I feel more involved. You know, I had imagined maybe we could paint those, maybe a little light blue and a little white paint. So it actually looks like a wave, because it's pretty basic, right? It was installed. The contractor came in, built some cement waves, and it's gray. It's gray. So I was just thinking, like, you know, maybe somebody could paint that, you know, blue and white, you know, kind of fade it a little bit. You know, how I think it's probably white on top or blue, darker blue at the bottom, whatever a wave looks like. I just think it would look beautiful, have some color to it. It's just a positive suggestion, and it might give a high school student some experience. It can go on their resume for college. I don't know. That's a good idea. And maybe, you know, a lot of public art in Albany is gray. That big old metal sculpture outside the old folks home, and the gray metal that sprouts trees. So maybe some more color, but yeah, let's keep pushing artwork, because Mr. Hill was great and he really inspired me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment?
I am, yes, we do. In Jeremiah, and just really quickly, this is a good of the city for public. We will have an ability to discuss any agenda items when they come up on the agenda as well. Just a heads up for everybody.
She's-
Eliza Scheffler, go ahead.
Oh, hi. I didn't know what the protocol was. I wanted to say something about, I think it was item 6-2 about the proposed mural for Jackson Street. I'm hoping that can move forward, because
Well,
it's been
I'm
planned.
sorry, I think you have to restrict your comments to when that item actually comes up before the
okay.
committee.
Okay.
This is for this good of the city for items that are not on the agenda.
Oh, I understand. Okay, thank you.
It won't be long. Okay, is there anyone else?
If any other members of the public would like to make a comment for just the good of the city, kind of an in general comment, now is the time to do it. If you're new to these meetings.
If not, then we'll move along to the next item. Okay, so the next item is announcements from staff and any committee members. So, does staff have any announcements?
Yeah, I would. We would just like to welcome Member Szymanski. Please excuse me if I keep mispronouncing your name. If you just want to really quickly just say hello and maybe a quick background, and other committee members, if you are comfortable doing the same, maybe how long you've sat on the committee, and maybe just a quick sentence or two about what brought you to the Albany Arts Committee. Oh, yeah. Oh, Sarah, can you unmute?
I'm always afraid you're going to hear all the noise here. I taught art at Albany High with Ed Hill for many years, and for 22 years. And I was the head of Albany High School Theater Ensemble for 22 years. So I have quite a lot of experience with high school. I also live in Albany, and my children went to school in Albany, and I have my own design business here in Albany.
What kind of design?
We do architectural design, residential architectural design.
Architectural design.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, welcome to the committee. Would
Thank
anyone
you.
else like to just give a brief review of who you are and why you're here? Aaron?
Sure. My name is Aaron Gatch, and I've lived in Albany for I think a little over 20 years. I have a daughter in the middle school, and I'm also a professional artist, a community-based artist. I teach community arts at California College of the Arts, and my practice is very much engaged with public art and working kind of in and with and about communities as an artistic practice. So I'm really happy to serve on this committee and bring a little of what I know and share it, and hopefully learn from everyone else who's on the committee and what members of the Albany community bring to the table.
All right, thank you. Cheryl?
Cheryl Black. Sarah, I knew you looked familiar.
It's the hair.
It's the hair. Yes, absolutely. Good to see you again. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I've been on the arts committee for Peter 8-9 years, something like that. We've both been on Peter came on just before me. What I do for the arts committee, what I enjoy doing is I run the gallery. So I make sure the shows go up. I make sure the artists are who they say they are when they apply to us. And I run the openings. So that is what I do for the arts committee.
And I'm Peter Goodman. Like Cheryl has said, I've been on the committee for a long time now, and I've been in charge of the Haiku Program. I helped, I guess, back when the master plan was being written. You know, I had been involved with a lot of the arts committee things over the years. My connection is I've got a small book publishing company located on Solano Avenue. So I guess that's my interest is more literary, I guess, than art, but I dabble in graphic design and typography for the sake of the company. So that's good. Good to meet everyone, and hopefully we'll have a full complement next month. Any other announcements from staff?
Yeah, I'm not on the agenda this time. So I just wanted to announce that I have spoken with 2 out of the 3 people who are still on our schedule for this coming year. They are delighted and ready to go, and as soon as we are, the 3rd person hasn't responded yet, but I'm sure she will also. So the game plan is in the future we had 4 shows as we do every year. The first show happened, obviously, and then we were closed down right after that, just before she was supposed to take it down. And so the other people are willing and ready to go as soon as we're ready to go for that.
Whenever that is.
Whenever that is,
Oh.
you know, whenever that is. We'll just do it as we can.
Good. So nothing else from
Nothing.
staff?
No.
And so the committee, you know, during this time, if you have had some sort of great artistic experience that might involve some of the work the committee is doing, this would be a good time to just mention it. Or if there's something upcoming that you think would be of interest to other members on the committee or to the public, you could mention it here too. It's not an agenda item, it's just informational. So if you have anything, feel free to share that with everyone. There are no presentations this time, is that right? So we can just move right into item 6. First is 6-1, the election of officers. The committee has to nominate and elect a chair and vice chair. So we can either do that now. I believe there's 3 people that have been appointed officially to the committee. We have a full complement of 7, so we're waiting for 4 more. So we could either you could self-nominate yourself, or other people could nominate from the pool that's here, or we can put it off for a month. Why don't we discuss that, Aaron?
I would like to, Andrew, go ahead.
I called on Aaron, so let's. Go
We
ahead.
have a,
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I was going to move to table it until we have the other appointed members.
I second that.
Okay, motion
hey,
second.
Peter, we had a, sorry to interrupt, we had a public comment
On what?
agenda item.
And before you move to public comment, just so you guys know, the election procedure, you don't have to vote on it this time if you choose to table it till next month, but at least you will have the procedure for next month. You would nominate members of the committee, and you would vote on each one of them. The last nomination gets voted on first. So if someone nominated member Black, and then somebody else nominated member Szymanski, and somebody else nominated member Gatch, then the vote will be on member Gatch as the chair first.
Okay.
And
Oh, okay.
if he gets majority, then the voting ends right there. If not, the motion fails, and then it goes to member Szymanski, then member Black.
Okay, well, let's hope we can all remember that for next month.
We got
There's
staff
a
will
public
do a
comment
good
on
job
the-
remembering that.
This is a public comment on the election? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Ann. This is Jeremiah. I was just wondering, in this committee, does this committee take an oath? I know the Social and Economic Justice and the City Council, everybody took an oath to uphold the Constitution. So that's one of my questions. If you guys are supposed to take an oath, I'm not 100% sure on that. And the other thing was, I noticed in the SCJC committee and also the City Council, they wanted to table it till next time. And that was even my suggestion for the SCJC. Why don't you just table this? Because you only have 5 out of 7 members here. And those 2 people really aren't given a chance or the opportunity. But I think the Social and Economic Justice Commission, they went ahead and they chose a chair and a vice chair anyway, which is great. So I'm all for what you guys want to do, really. If you want to give the next people some opportunity to be chair. But I know the trend right now is to get new leaders, new people that haven't had the experience before, to get in positions to where they have some leadership, to where someone new could be the chair instead of the same person that's been it for year after year after year. So I just want to throw that out there. If there's somebody new on this commission or council, I just want to nominate you, whoever is new. I'm not familiar with this council too much, or this committee too much, but I just want to give a shout out, a nomination to somebody new. That way they get a chance. But my other viewpoint was, it's kind of a catch-22. I would almost rather it go to someone with the most experience. So it's just really whatever you guys want to do, whatever you seem fair. I just wanted to be fair for the other people that aren't here tonight. And I think, Ann, you were right that you could choose a chair now and a vice chair now. And if you wanted to switch it next time, you can. And also, I just want to point out that I believe this is a 2-year term. So you could even nominate somebody who's not here tonight, but they still have the right to decline during next meeting. So I just want to remind you all that this is a 2-year thing, but I believe someone can back out if they want to, if they're not comfortable or something. So yeah, just go with the flow, and I just hope this is a fun thing, and good luck to everybody who wants to step up and be the chair and vice chair. So good luck.
Thank you. So we do have a motion that was seconded, and the motion was to table this until next month, to our next meeting. So if is there any discussion on that? And if not, we can proceed to vote. All right, well, what do we vote on that then? Do you want to call the vote? Roll call vote?
Yeah, let me just write that down, Chair, and then I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, Member Black,
Yes,
Member Gatch,
Yes.
Member Goodman,
Yes.
and Member Simonsky.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. So item 6-2, this is the review of the gift to the city mural project titled Hidden Treasures of Albany Hill. This was, I think it's like a 12, fairly large proposal that was in our packets. And if, Liam, I guess if you're capable of sharing your screen, and is a staff person going to make a presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and summarize the staff report for everyone, and then allow time for questions. So as you mentioned, Member Goodman, there is a staff report, and I'm just going to summarize. For the donation acceptance policy, the city manager has reviewed the gift application submitted by Carol Fitzgerald for a mural project and has directed their proposal to the Arts Committee for further review. Section 6 of this policy establishes formal guidelines for consistent decision-making process for donations to the city. The donor must submit a written plan that includes the project purpose, description, location, scope of work, budget, financial commitment, maintenance plan, primary contact person and contact information, schedule, and preliminary drawings. The retaining wall on Jackson Street between Castro and Hillside have been proposed as the location for the Hidden Treasures of Albany Hill mural project. Since the proposed location is on city property, it does trigger the review process outlined in the Public Arts Master Plan. Per the master plan, the review process for projects with an anticipated cost of less than $10,000 that are not cited on one of the 12 top priority sites identified in the survey of sites may be carried out without the assistance of the selection panel. The Arts Committee can also determine at its own discretion that a selection panel would be necessary. The committee has been asked to take into consideration location, design, costs, community outreach, and community engagement when reviewing this project. I've included in the staff report additional information on the public art review process, as well as other criteria to consider. After review, the committee will then identify next steps. This could include, but are not limited to, recommending the project to City Council and/or determining if there is additional information needed to issue a fair and informed recommendation. So that's just a summary of the staff report, and I'd like to open it up to the committee for any questions for staff. We do also have the artist here, so I'm going to go ahead and move Carol Fitzgerald over to be a part of our group. But please feel free to ask questions, and now is the time to formally go into that review process as outlined in the master plan, and in the staff report we included that information to criteria to consider.
Okay, so I guess the goal of our discussion then tonight is to approve, disapprove, or table or ask for more information before we approve. Is that correct?
Yeah, now is your chance. The committee has the opportunity to talk directly to the artist. So hopefully you've reviewed the proposal that Carol has submitted, and you can ask questions like the staff report said, as far as location, the artwork, what type of community involvement that she plans to take, the community outreach that has been done or plans to be done, all of that.
Okay, so do any members of the committee have
Any other procedural questions you can ask them?
Right. So any members of the committee have any comments on the proposal or questions for the artist?
I just have one. Peter?
Yes, Cheryl?
The artist is planning on paying for the whole project. Is that's the impression I'm getting, as it's a gift to the city?
Carol, you can go ahead and answer that question if you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
This is because you asked for one person to be the contact. That's why you have my name. The gift is from the Friends of Albany Hill. We also will get support from the Albany Community Foundation.
Okay.
So those things, those statements are in the budget that I included. How the money is coming through.
Okay.
But what you were,
I'm sorry. Who's actually going to be doing the painting?
Well, you can. My experience, I teach art at City College of San Francisco. And I have done, I think, a half dozen public art projects with community. And so with this project, the drawings, which are, there's a sample included in my packet. They're all botanical or biological. And they're taken from, first of all, the Friends of Albany Hill have a long relationship with the natural resources on the hill. And we've had a wonderful botanist from UC Berkeley who collected all of the native plants and provided a pressed, the pressed specimens are up at the Jepson Herbarium. So I worked from those. We also have the Lepidoptery collection is at the Essig Museum at UC Berkeley, and that was created by a member of the Friends of Albany Hill in the 90s. And so I'm working from those also. So I'm going to do what a muralist does, which project the drawings onto the wall, and then I'm inviting the community to paint with me. But the drawings will all be done. I have, you'll see on the one sheet in my packet, there's a sample of the drawings. So I will be outlining them, and then people can paint and fill in. And even if there wasn't a pandemic going on, I would never work with more than 6 people at a time, because we need to be a little spread out. And also I want to paint with them. So I want a very small group at a time. So that's. So
you're talking about people that aren't necessarily artists. They could be any member. And how would you choose these people?
They just sign up. There's going to be 134, I believe, botanics to do. And it's just a first come, first serve basis. I did a project with the city of San Pablo and with the city of Albany in the 90s, where we painted the street banners, 101 city and 150 in Albany. And so people had to sign up that because it was sponsored by the Solano Association, they handled that. But I held workshops and we did all the paintings separate in another place, and then they were hung. But in this particular case, people will be up at the wall painting. It'll be an on-site project.
are you planning on charging people to do that, Carol?
Well, if you look in my budget, we have a material fee, which is $10. And that's what we did also for the banner project. And it helps pay for the project, but people understand that there's brushes and paint that they're going to be using. So that's.
But it looks like you also have that budgeted into project expenses. Is that correct?
I do. As I have it as, well, what do you?
So that would look like it's if it's coming out of the budget for the project, if it's provided by the project budget.
Well, the project budget, the income, if you look at the income, part of the income is the Mural participants fee.
Right. So you're raising funds, if I understand correctly, you're raising funds to cover the materials, but then also asking participants to pay for those same materials.
Well, the participants and the Friends of Albany Hill are pretty much the same people.
Well, then it would particularly seem like they're paying for the materials twice in that instance.
Well, I'm not sure why that's a problem. I'm not, can you be more specific so I can clarify?
Yeah, I'm not sure necessarily that it is a problem. What I'm looking for is clarification about essentially what the city of Albany is offering both to the project and to the community. So in this case, it seems based on the budget that the funding structure is supporting the project and Albany is providing the site. And that,
yeah,
is
I
that
think
correct?
I think you could put it that way.
Okay, and then the other aspect of the project, as I understand it, is that Albany community members also have the opportunity to participate in the project. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the third aspect of the project is that there is what could be potentially construed as a barrier to entry for participation, which is a fee that Albany residents would be charged to participate in that project.
Well, they will be gifting just like I'm gifting. So again, I'm not sure how to clarify it more.
Well, if it's actually gifting, if it's actually gifting, it can't be a fee. I think that's what.
Well, when we can change that word, we can just.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you know, if your list of say 100 people, there are 10 people who do not wish to gift, they have to still be included.
No, it's.
I think like some of the clarification that I'm hoping to see is if the gift is, comes from members of Friends of Albany Hill who are essentially donating their labor and also helping to fund the project. And what you're asking of the Arts Committee and the City of Albany is support in providing the site. I think that's a clearer relationship than the suggestion that the labor will be done by community members of Albany who are then also being asked to pay to participate.
I agree.
Does that make sense?
Well, the gift is from the Friends of Albany Hill, and you don't have to, people make their donations at the end of the year. It's a neighborhood group, and we don't even have to include the participants are putting in money. It's just simply when they sign, those who want to sign up, we just tell them then that we're asking for you to be part of the gift, both your labor and the fee. But I don't know how, if you see it as a stumbling block, you need to make the suggestion of how to remedy it.
I think the suggestion would be to be clear about, is this a public project that is accessible to all members of the Albany community?
Well, it's not a public. I don't think it is a public. It's a gift from the Friends of Albany Hill. We're not asking, we didn't apply for your community funding for this project. We wanted to do it ourselves. So
okay, so I think that was my question, was everybody in Albany invited? But you're saying only the members of the Friends of Albany Hill are going to participate.
Well, if you choose to paint one of the to participate, then you're going to be called a Friend of Albany Hill. Does that make it clear?
No, I'm not.
It's not a closed community. This is how we formed. We did. For years, we've done the restorative work on the hill. And if you came one Saturday to help pull weeds, you were a Friend of Albany Hill. And I never had anyone object to it. So, other questions?
Is it that unusual for someone to, for an organization to seek donations? And then say for everyone who gives a donation, you get a tote bag, or you get a sticker, or in this case, you get the opportunity to paint a plant, one of the botanical plants on the wall. I mean, do you feel like this is
No,
something?
it's not unusual, but you said donation and that says fee.
So is it, I mean, do you see it as just more of a matter of wording and how it's framed?
Well, and access, like in public school, you can't ask parents for a fee. They can donate as much as they want, but you can't ask them to pay for something. It has to be open for anybody, no matter what their level of income is. Okay.
So we could say suggested donation, which is
There you
sometimes
go.
done instead
That's
of calling.
fine. Suggested donation is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You just can't be a fee. So if there was someone you
We
came
can
up
change
with
that.
really wanted-
That's not hard.
I mean, you've done such good work. I can't imagine that if there was a person who came up there that wanted to paint who didn't have $10 or something, you wouldn't let them paint. But in this, it looks like you would charge them to make, you would require them to pay. This way, if a suggested fee, I think most people would do that.
Of course they would.
Right.
Okay, well, that's good. Aaron, does that satisfy your concern?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just from my perspective, this isn't about at this stage of asking questions and trying to understand the project. This isn't about whether I like the project or don't like the project. Just to be clear to you, Carol, I'm not trying to be antagonistic to the project. I just want to be really clear that if we're being asked to support a project that is being billed as a public art project, I want to make sure that it's accessible to the public and that we're not creating barriers to entry and that it's not excluding participation in one form or another. So the argument there is when the proposal comes before us and we're being asked to approve it or not approve it, there's a difference between how it's going to be funded and who has access. And these are different questions, but as soon as they become merged together, then we need to figure out how to parse that language around it.
That's right.
Well, I think we resolved it by calling it a donation, don't you think?
I think so. I have a couple of other just logistical questions.
Sure.
If I may. So I think we've established that Albany would be supporting you in providing the site. Are there other logistical needs from the city of Albany? For example, would the street need to be blocked off? Or would Albany be providing power for the projector? Or do you have some other plan for how you would be projecting?
Yeah, I don't use a projector. I don't know if you've been to that site, but across from the site, there are only two houses. The one house that starts at Hillside and goes down to Castro. It's a huge ranch style kind of. And so there's really only, so the parking on that side isn't crucial, but of course it's used like any other parking area. So what I will be asking for on the days that we're working there is either to have a couple of those sandwich boards or cones and block off the side that we're going to be working on the mural.
Okay, and I thought one thing that I'm a little confused about is I thought you mentioned that you would be projecting onto the site. Did I misunderstand that?
I'm going to just move my laptop over so I can plug it in. So, because it says my battery's low. So just a second here for me to get plugged in.
I'm sorry, just a point of effort. I'm sharing a screen and it was my computer that the battery is low. So just want to give a heads up to everybody.
Okay, well, it's all right. I moved over if I have to go back. Okay, so I'm sorry. Do you want to ask that question again?
Sure. My understanding was that somewhere in there, I thought that you would be projecting.
No, what I do is I have well, you can kind of see what my drawings look like. And so I have made copies and I have them blown up to the size that I want them to be on the wall. And then I just poke holes and connect the dots so that what the participants do then is they will look at the color and paint in. So they're painting directly on the wall, and so it's not projected, it's already drawn.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's how I do murals.
Okay, that makes sense. I misunderstood
Yes,
that.
that's
I
it.
thought-
Yeah, that's the old-fashioned way. I got it.
It's the
But so
fun
what you're doing is you are connecting the dots. You are making the outline, and they are coloring it in.
It's kind of like paint by number, but people are fascinated how murals are created. And so it's going to be before them to watch it grow, to see how it's done. And you may have another way of doing it, which is projecting. There are definitely different ways of doing murals, but the way this one's going to be done is the way I just explained.
Okay. I've been asked to call on people when they want to speak to
Okay.
direct the conversation a little bit, or make sure that people don't talk over each other, and that everyone has a chance. So, Aaron, are those your questions?
Maybe just a procedural one. So if we need to amend the proposal to include some sort of parking control, parking enforcement thing, does that need to, I don't know what the process for making sure that that's in there.
Sure, I can speak to that. So essentially, anytime we close block off a parking space, an encroachment permit would be needed. And thus this would, in our recommendation to council, that would need to be factored in as far as if whose responsibility the encroachment permit would be, and if they were able to waive the fee. But yes, if they decided that, the city staff would be able to provide those A-frames and signage as well. I guess just to add to that, sorry, Peter, is just we would need from the artist to have a better idea of how many days, how many hours do you expect you would need those parking spots blocked, and how many parking spots it is.
Okay.
I think, oh, sorry, I should.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Along those lines, do we need to include something about when the activity would be taking place? And do we need to check in? Is there some public outreach to check in with neighbors to make sure that work isn't starting too early or too late? Does that go also into the recommendation?
Yes, what we don't have from Carol is the timeline of literally the dates, but also in that timeline would be a proposal for hours of the day that it would be worked on. And then from that, and we can talk to this, and maybe Peter, you can mention a little bit more on community outreach too, but that would be included in if we put a picture of the actual mural posted at the site and allow for public comment, we could include hours of activity, if you will.
So Eva, maybe that's something you could tell the committee about. If, for example, the committee decides, say, yes, we like this project, then what happens after that? How long is the period of public outreach, and how is it handled now?
The next step, if the committee decides to go forward fully, or if they need more information, they would present that to council. Staff would also make a recommendation, and from there, if council approved it, then as you're alluding to, there would need to be a period of, I believe it's 60 days for the community to weigh in, and that includes as I mentioned, posting signage at the actual public art location at the mural site, the mural wall. The city does a lot of outreach through social media and different marketing avenues as far as our weekly e-newsletter, the Nextdoor. We have some other social media avenues too, to allow a period of time for the community to provide public comment and either for or against or neutral. And from there, then that a decision needs to come back to the Arts Committee to make their final recommendation.
So it comes back to the Arts Committee.
The council needs to decide that. So they either, they would need to do, the council would either direct, say, hey, you know, per the recommendation from the Arts Committee, we need the 60-day outreach to the community. And once that's approved, we either, it needs to come back to council, or it would need to come back to the Arts Committee for final approval.
Okay.
And is this adequate?
Okay. Sarah, you had your hand up earlier. Did you have a?
Well, I think it's kind of been answered, but also I was wondering just about the responsibility of cleanup and maintenance of this mural. You know, like on every day that they're working, are we assured that everything's going to be cleaned up? And then as the mural ages or each year, who's going to take care of it? I mean, who's going to clean it? Who's going to make sure it's okay?
Yeah, I had that same question.
Well, having worked on many murals, of course, we put down the drop cloth and we pick up everything when we leave. But as far as maintenance for a mural, I use industrial paints, the Nova color, and it's what all muralists in the city use. It just doesn't fade. And this wall also facing the east is not going to get direct sunlight, which is a fading factor. So it has a long life possibilities. And I'm not sure what other cleanups you'd need. We of course will treat it with the coats of graffiti protection.
Carol, I had a question along those lines, but the type I imagine is going to be fairly small and very detailed. Is that type going to hold up and not flake off? Or
what type do you mean?
Well, you have text below each of the.
Oh, well, that'll be painted on.
That'll be and that would not flake off, so it would continue to be readable even after, you think, 5 years?
Well, it'll be painted with the same paint as the images. It doesn't flake.
Doesn't flake off.
No, and Nebula color is industrial, so it has a lot of pigment in it. It's made to be painted outside.
Okay. I had another question too. I don't know if you've had a chance to read any of the letters that were sent in. Person who lives directly across from the wall, who is not in favor of the project, raised one objection was that the sidewalk there is very narrow, and it's not heavily traversed, and the images are very small. So the only way that someone would actually be able to fully appreciate the mural would be to get up close to it. And they expressed a concern that the sidewalk is very narrow. There's not many people walking on it. People aren't going to drive and stop and look at it. And I just wanted to give you a chance to, I guess, respond to that as a potential criticism of the project, that for something that maybe could only be appreciated from. Well, I guess the suggestion was that a better type of mural there would be something that would be larger and bolder and could be seen easily from across the street and in a passing car, as opposed to having to get up close on a sidewalk that's already very, very narrow. So I just want to hear your response to that criticism.
Well, this is the mural that we want because it's educational. It's people, you know, I get letters on our website on the Friends of Albany Hill continually about what plants should I plant that support the, well, the monarchs, but all the other butterflies that are up there. So it's really like signage and introduction to the hill. So this is the composition that we're proposing as a gift. As far as I don't think a bold mural in that particular site. It is residential, and this is not intrusive on anybody's vision, I don't think, which a bolder one could be, but that's just I obviously have a purpose for doing this, and it is educational. It is a narrower sidewalk. It's not heavily traveled, but you can definitely go up to it. You can see these will be, I think there are two, I've forgotten exact measurements because I did these before, but I think that the height of each one is 2 feet, and I believe it's 18 in width. So it's not, you know, real small. And, but I think that it's expectable that people would walk across the street and go up close because they may want to read the actual and copy down the actual botanical name of a certain plant. As I said, that I'm not sure which house across the street. As I said, there's one, and then there's another person, and then I think Eliza, who's going to make a comment tonight, also lives across from it. So she might know more about who that person is and what they had in mind. But this is the mural that I would do as a gift and that the Friends of Albany Hill would support. So,
Yes. Okay, thank you.
That's all I
was
can
just curious
say.
to
No, I'm happy to hear that. I didn't see that letter.
Okay.
Because I'd be glad to talk to the person.
Okay, are there further questions, Aaron?
Just one question. You mentioned the sidewalk, and we kind of already talked about the parking issue. Are those two things tied together? Like, does the city take care of rerouting pedestrian traffic or blocking off the sidewalk during the work time? Is that something that needs to be in the proposal as well?
And that would be included in the encroachment permit.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And city would handle that. And
Okay.
and I'm going to take this opportunity too to add to my statement as before of the actual process of going to council and them asking for further community outreach. It's in thinking it through, it also might be advisable to the committee to recommend doing that outreach first before going to council. As we know, any art project that goes to council, they want to make sure that the public was adequately notified, how they were, and what the due diligence was that both the artist and the city and the committee took. So that would be acceptable as well to recommend that we go through the formal process and ask the artist to submit what has been done or what they plan to do as well. And so that could be submitted to council, and if council then approved it, then it would move forward.
Okay, thanks. If there are no further questions from the committee to the artist, then maybe we can open this up for public comment.
Sure, and I see a hand raised, Jeremiah.
Hi, thank you. A lot to say in 3 minutes. Curious, 134 plants. How many high school students senior year this year graduated from Albany High? It'd be kind of cool if every high school student got a chance to do something. You know, it seemed like $350 to pressure wash cleaning. I don't know what does the Albany Tool Exchange have at the Albany Library have to offer I mean, does the Albany Tool Exchange have ladders and power washers? I mean, what kind of resources do we already have? I mean, $350 to buy a brand new power washer. Is that parts or labor? I just don't know. Also, yeah, I think this is north of Castro, right? Yeah, what's the date this is going to happen? You know, yeah, public art. It doesn't seem like it's too public right now. It's kind of just for people who want to pay. But what if a kid paint, right? You know, a kid without a job. How are they going to come up with $10? I guess collect some recycling or something, right? You know, I was thinking if it comes down to it, I'd love to sponsor people who can't afford it. I would love to pay 10, 20, couple $100 to people who can't afford it. I love to sponsor people. So also, you mentioned you're not getting any money from the community or something, but you're getting money from the Albany Community Foundation, $1,000. So, I mean, can kids be a part of this? You know, I know
No.
I want. Kids cannot.
Let's go ahead and Jeremiah finish, and then we'll allow the committee and the artists to respond. Go ahead.
Wow. I want to be an advocate for kids because kids are really good at artwork. There are some positives and some negative vibes I have about this thing. It seems kind of like, you know, you got to be in a certain faction or a certain group. It seems kind of like, I don't know what's going on here, but it doesn't seem too open to the public. The kind of paint you're using, you might want to run that by Climate Action Committee to see if Climate Action approves the type of paint you want to use, whether a rain runoff or something. Maybe if you're going to be buying stuff, you could show people the receipts for paintbrushes and buckets. I mean, look on Craigslist. You can get a lot of this stuff for free. I just don't see what costs a lot of money. Buckets, paintbrushes. Check the library, the Tool Exchange at the Albany Recreation Department. A couple more things here I have on notes is, yeah, it should be more public, open to the public. And I'm just wondering why kids can't be a part of it. That doesn't make sense to me. And
Jeremiah, your time is up. If you would wrap it up, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. What did you call me?
Peter, if you want to go ahead and call on the artist.
Yeah, is there any more, Carol, why don't I let you respond after maybe we've heard all the public comment, if that's okay. Is there other public comment? Liam, do you see anyone?
Yes, I will go ahead and allow Naomi Siegel.
Hi, this is Naomi Siegel. I live next door to Eliza, and I'm the person who wrote the letter objecting to the project because I live across the street from the project. I don't want to go over my whole letter and say what I said, but basically, I don't think the art is appropriate for a mural on this wall. I don't think the wall is appropriate for the size of the art of the mural. And I'm not sure why we need that mural on that wall. There's lots of other places in Albany where I think maybe these paintings might be more appropriate and more easily seen. And because I live across the street from it and I object to it, it's a little upsetting that I would have to open my door every day and see that mural. And also, now that you're talking about how long it's going to take and car permits, that's also basically where we park our cars. And the parking on our street is very limited. There's never many empty spots. So moving our cars for the duration of time it would take to paint these little paintings is going to be another issue for us. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I am not in support of this project. my letter is, you've got it, and I go into more detail there. But if you have any more questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other public comments?
Yes, it looks like we have Eliza. Go ahead, Eliza.
Yes, I just wanted to, this might be a question more for Carol than for the committee. I was wondering if there's going to be any representation of the Ohlone culture that lived on the hill. It would be really nice if there would be some representation of their culture. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I don't see any other public comment.
Well, let's,
Yeah,
okay,
so I'll
then.
put it back to you.
Yeah, then Carol, there were some questions that came up. Is there anything you'd like to respond to?
First to Eliza. Eliza, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to paint a Native American image. They would want to do that themselves. And, you know, that it might be, you know, there is the wall south of the steps, which belongs to the school, but maybe something could be done there. I would love to see the arts committee, even, you know, in San Francisco, there are many stairways that have had an artist that does mosaic work and involves the community. And we have those concrete steps that divide the wall that friends would like to work on, and then the school property. So there's other space there for other expressions. This is the expression that's important to the Friends of Albany Hill for our long work on the native plants. And we know people want to know what trees are native, what plants are up there. It's really like signage for that particular park or that hill. And I can't, you know, there's really nothing to say to Naomi. It's just that this is the image that we have had for some time. And then Jeremiah, you mentioned the children. These are botanical drawings, and it's not children's art. And also, again, there's other possibilities in that area where something could be done with children, such as the mosaics on the stairwell, or such as the wall that's in front of the Children's Center that could cry out for a mural. And that's my comments.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's bring this back to the committee then. Any further discussion? Aaron, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, one question. I guess it's a question for Carol. I guess the first question is, it sounds like you, speaking on behalf of Friends of Albany Hill and wanting to represent the native plants on Albany Hill, would you say that the aspect that's most important to you about this project is the subject matter and the representation, or the mural and this specific site? So for example, if it's the former, could the project take a different form or be at a different site? And if it's the latter, can you speak a little to why this particular site and this particular design is kind of like the only choice or the primary choice for you?
Well, it's long been the mission of the Friends of Albany Hill, and I've been involved with them since 1990, is to promote and preserve the native plants that are already there, that are unique to our site. And so this is this is an opportunity to make that visible. And I had shown some of these drawings at the library in their display case a couple years ago. And they had received more feedback from that display than anyone else. And it's this interest that people have in native plant gardening, in preserving. We know the monarch migration is just crashing. The entire insect population is down 60%. And so we see this as something very important to do to the community to raise awareness beyond the fact that it's very healing and unifying to do an art project. And so this is the spot for it. And I feel strongly about that. That wall has been bare for a long time. It gets graffitied from time to time. And there is one artist or one neighbor, I think she's an artist too, that has paint from the city that paints over the graffiti. And so then you have a little patch of lighter paint. It's just an eyesore. And that's the best I can say about the project. And I know that you did receive, I think, 5 or 6 letters from various friends of Albany Hill in support of this project. I don't know that any of them are in your audience, but they did write their letters.
Yeah. Aaron, go ahead.
So just to clarify, you are committed to this particular site. This couldn't be, for example, a series of signs along the paths of Albany Hill. You are like, this is just to clarify, just so that everyone is clear. Like, your proposal is only for this specific site, correct?
It is.
Okay.
And when the master plan was done, the art master plan, they did not include Albany Hill as a place for public art because they wanted to keep it natural. And they were referring to actually having art within the park itself. Nobody even pointed out that this particular wall could be a mural wall. So I just wanted to add that comment. That the idea of putting signage within the park, I don't think would be acceptable with the statement that's in the arts master plan.
I just threw that out as a first.
Yeah, no, it's fine, but would be my take on that.
One last question.
One small question about the artwork itself. It's really small for me to see. And I'm wondering about, it looks like there are color, I mean, most of it looks like pages out of a book.
Well, it is. It's a field guide. That's exactly what it is.
Okay, but then there are there colored panels that I don't, there seem to be certain squares overlapping the pages. Are there panels also that are added to it?
Well, the wall is it's kind of segmented. And so that's, a section of the wall.
There's one close-up there. It looks like the close-up of a painting of plants or something. And are those part of the wall, or is it just the botanical?
Well, the idea was that because a lot of the botanics are pressed and so they're dried. And so we thought that the one painting of the plant, when it's in its full color, that's what those represent, and it just would be like an eye focus.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Aaron.
Last comment from me, and this is just sort of what I would want to see before making a decision on it. The things that have already been mentioned, that we see the change to public participation to suggested donation, that we see the necessary permits added to the proposal, that we have a 60-day public comment period before sending it to the council. as Eva suggested, and that the one thing that I didn't see in this proposal that should really be standard in any public art proposal would be documentation of past projects. That sounds like you've done plenty of them. And it would be great to see somewhere between 5 to 10 images of past projects, just so we can see how they've held up, what they look like in the context in which they've been done before, and that we can proceed with some confidence, and that the public can also proceed with some confidence in making commentary.
Good suggestion.
Okay. Any further discussion from the committee? Would someone like to make a motion then? Aaron, I think you have the most well-formed thoughts on this. Would you like to take a stab at making a motion as to what you think the committee should do next?
If I understand the procedure correctly, and Liam and Ava can kind of chime in, that we move to request the suggested changes to the proposal to be submitted and open to a public commentary period of 60 days, and then reconvene to review and vote on whether or not the project would proceed to the council.
I second that.
Does that conform with what, Eva, does that conform with what the
Yeah, Aaron, you
Process will be-
included in just what you were saying before you made the motion. Did you want to include, I heard the public comment. Did you want to include any of the documentation of past projects? Or you had one other thing I didn't quite write down. Anything else you require?
I think
Can I respond?
Just 1 second. I just want to get this clear from
Okay.
Member Gatch. Yeah, and then we'll call on you, Carol. Thank you.
I think it's just those 4 things: the change to the fee with public participation and specifying public participation, the necessary permits, the public comment period, and documentation of past projects.
And that would all be required before the artist would come back with that documentation, and then we'll bring it to council.
That should be, I think that should be required for the public to be able to see that before making commentary. So we would do that.
Would that be, just a matter of, how would that be presented to the public? I mean, how would it be online, for example?
Yeah, how are projects normally presented to the public for public comment?
I'm not sure that that documentation would normally go, that would be part of the things that we evaluate as a committee. So it seems to me that that documentation could then come in after the period of public comment, and we could review that with any public comment that we get.
Okay.
Okay.
And sorry, I just realized there's one other thing is that we talked about was a production timeline, which is
timeline. Okay, and so the motion that you made calls out the 60-day public comment. That's and staff will take the lead on that. And as I mentioned before, the various ways of posting to the site and posting public comment opportunities on social media and online. And then after that, the artist can come back with all of the other mentioned items, and the arts committee, if they approve at that time, there would be more additional opportunity for public comment at that meeting, and then it could go to council if approved.
And Eva, is the 60-day timeline, is that required? Is that basically required by the city? That's the right number, right?
Right, and right. And yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Can I comment now?
Yeah, sorry, please.
So let's go back to the fact that this is a gift. So somehow it seems like you're treating it more like it's one of your community, how did you say it? It's like one of your community public art projects, which it isn't. And then also when you do the publicity for getting feedback from the community, I would like you to mention it's not a city project, it's a city wall, but that it is Friends of Albany Hill gifting, because our name is well thought of in the community. And it should, people should realize it's coming from that organization.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I've made a note of that too, Carol. I apologize
you.
for that.
Okay, and you can email me if you have other questions or.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Carol,
Because I don't
that's
think
fair, yeah.
that the having to show the public examples of past work, would you do that in a gift? If somebody, say if the Chamber of Commerce were going to, they gifted you that wonderful, or Albany, that wonderful clock. It's just, somehow it seems like this is, you're getting in there and wrapping the gift for us. And yet I want, obviously we want to make it easy for council and staff to let the program go ahead. So
Yes. Aaron?
Carol, I just want to express, there's, I think it's a wonderful gesture, and I want to be really clear about that. But what you are offering does not come without also asking for something. And that in asking to do a project in the city of Albany on public property, across from the home, other people's homes, and on the streets and sidewalks, that there is a reciprocation that happens there. And there's also a responsibility when we take an oath to make sure that we are meeting the expectations of all of the community members. So if you gift me a cat, that is a very nice gesture, but I'm allergic to cats. So I may not appreciate it. And that's just an expression to say that if it's going to be in public space, the public needs to participate in that conversation, whether it's a gift or not. And I think that's the dialogue that we're having here today.
Yeah, I agree with Aaron, and we've learned to our cost that just assuming that everyone will accept something is not always a correct assumption. The more transparency we have, the more outreach we have, the more community buy-in we have, the better the results. Public art is very different from regular art, as I'm sure you know, Carol, and you've probably been through these things multiple times. And we are, just as Aaron says, we really have to go through all the different steps and get all the buy-in and talk to all the people who are possibly affected by it in terms of traffic, line of sight, how people perceive that it affects their property values, and they all have to be given a chance to express their opinion before we can go ahead. And that just seems to be the nature of our job here and the nature of public art.
Well, I know that there is also the fact that you had, when you did the Albany, the sculpture that's under the BART tracks that spells out Albany, that you did do all of these steps, and you still got some flack, I understand, by some of the neighbors. And so there's a much more caution going on because of that. Personally, I haven't had resistance to the projects that I've done, but there's a first time for everything. I just, I think you need to go ahead, but put it on the fast track, because when you do a mural that's outside, you're working with weather.
Yeah, and what you're hearing is not resistance to the project per se, but it's the process creaking along. Sort of what it is. Anyway, is there further discussion on the motion? And if not, then I think, do we all understand the motion? All its different parts? Did you want to summarize in some way, or can we go ahead? Everyone feel they know what they're voting on? Okay,
I think, and Lean, do you mind taking roll?
Yes, absolutely. Member Black,
I think she said
can you
yes.
unmute, Cheryl?
Or just
Say
thumbs
what?
up.
Or even a thumbs up is good. I think that wasn't
You're
approved.
muted?
Yes. Member Goodman,
yes,
Member
Yes.
Gatch,
Yes.
and Member Saminsky. Samonski.
Yes,
I'm so sorry for butchering your name. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
it's all right.
all right, then,
The motion passes.
okay, good, thank you. So staff will take it to the next step then, and okay. Good, so moving on then to, sorry, where are we at? Item 6-3, review of the commission work plan. Going to review our 2019-2021 work plan, discuss accomplishments. Okay,
I have shared the 2019 to 2021 work plan. The first page contains a background, the purpose of the committee, as well as initiatives and accomplishments that took place before this particular work plan. Since we're on the 2-year cycle now, some of these will look like older accomplishments on this first page, and just keep in mind that we're on a 2-year cycle. However, I'm going to move down to the policy and review and initiatives of the 2019 and 2021 block. I'm not sure of the exact title of that. So anyways, Peter, again, you are the chair. If you have any, I know 1 or 2 of these have been your projects. We always like to hear from committee members. You have done the work. However, Eva and I are here to provide any background, dates, or any supplemental information as well. Eva, if I'm forgetting anything else, I think that we can just kind of take it from the top and move on down. I will start with the Public Arts Projects Plan. The Public Arts Project Plan works in unison with the Arts Committee Work Plan. You could think of it as the Public Arts, the PAPP Public Arts Project Plan is the mechanism to which spends the money. So a work plan will come out like the one you see and the one that we will make in future months, kind of saying what the committee would like to accomplish in the next 2 years, what you're set up to do, and then kind of future projects you want to start to look at. However, the PAPP, the Public Arts Projects Plan, which I'm going to bring up right now, is how you are actually spending the money. It is a quick description of the work, but also a use or a tallying, a showing of how much money is spent on each project, and then a culmination for the entire time. Just a quick reminder to past committee members and new committee members, the PAPP was a project in great unison with the City Council. It really shows both sides to the committee process. It shows the creative side of finding these projects and doing the work. It also, and then the PAPP looks into using public funds appropriately and spending the money on the projects which we said we would do. So from there, I will kind of open it up to discussion. If anyone has any questions for Eva or myself, I am controlling the screen share. Excuse me. So I'm more than happy to move it up or down or zoom in on any points that that you would like to kind of accentuate.
I don't think we can see your screen, Lean.
Oh.
You sharing?
Thank you, Eva.
There it is.
Okay. So this is the PAPP. This is again the mechanism for spending the money for the projects that you decide on as a group in the work plan. And then again, here is the work plan for this year. All of these attempt for the public, all of these are attached in your agenda as well.
oh, I didn't see that that budget piece. Was that part of the?
I don't, unfortunately, Peter, I'm sorry.
The PAPP.
Yeah. And this is the 2019 to 2021. So you will see some things on there that make jog the memory of committee members. For example, Creek Art, which just unfortunately didn't come together with the artist. And then the sculpture loan program, the sculpture loan program is on the project, the work plan. So I was going to talk about that further down. I thought it was. Okay, I guess it's under this topic. So Eva, is now an okay time to just quickly update on some of these, or should we kind of wait
Yeah,
for
I think that's great.
The sculpture loan program committee members, returning committee members, as well as new committee members, is kind of how it sounds. We are working with our maintenance department in engineering pads that go along the Allony Greenway as part of the Allony Greenway update that happened with the BART seismic retrofitting a few years back. The committee has done great work in finding some art. Sarah, I'm going to show you some of those art pieces in just a second here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we have a new update for the committee as well, which is staff has made some contact with some different engineers and concrete contractors, and hopefully we can bring some new information to this committee at future meetings about kind of getting it rolling. The city's portion of this is installing these pads that the sculpture would sit on, for anyone not entirely in the loop of the project. So again, the city would design and build the pads. We would get a sculpture loan as it states from committee members, from neighborhood members. Sometimes these are just in somebody's backyard, right? Sometimes they were on display somewhere. They come back to the artist isn't exactly sure what to do with it. So that's kind of where the sculpture loan aspect of it comes in. I wanted to, please forgive me for 1 second here, technology. I just want to get these pictures ready to go for you so we're not, scrolling through a bunch of stuff. In the meantime, oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, can you, if everybody can kind of see this?
No.
The sizes are adjacent. Oh, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Member Gash. Here they are. So this is, we have all of the individual applications and we can review those. They were reviewed a while ago. We are currently in the get space for the sculptures to sit on stage. So as staff works on that, we will tie certainly back into the applications and the draft projects for it. The sizes are listed next to it. And then the locations along the Allony Greenway were initially suggested by the design team that again did the Allony Greenway update. However, committee members sitting in this Zoom meeting walked all of the spaces and noted that these 3 spots they felt were the best spots for the work. The top one, meet you at the corner, which is this one. This is at Washington and Masonic, or the Allony Greenway, 1 block south of the Albany Loop, which was mentioned earlier. Organic columns, which is this one.
Can I stop you, Lane, just real quick
Yeah.
on that one? The meet you at the corner, it's hard to depict, and this was the postcard that was sent out to community members, but it's actually 4 corners, if you will. I don't know if you can see my hands, but what you're looking at is 1 corner, and there's 4 of those, and those can be oriented in any number of ways. This sculpture in particular, the artist has noted that it does not need a pad, and he has installation specs where you can just put it into the ground, stake it into the ground. So anyways, just wanted to note that. Continuing, thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Yeah, the organic columns are this kind of taller one here. We like to call it Rotary Hill, if you can imagine Solano and Masonic, or the Allony Greenway. On the south side of that intersection, there is a bit of a berm with some nice landscaping there, and a rock, a large, medium-sized rock with the Rotary crest on it. So that is that space. And then the final one is the Bard Spiral, which is further down the Allony Greenway, Masonic Avenue, just south of Dartmouth Street. There is it looks like circle landscaping kind of in the middle of the meandering path of the Allony Greenway. It used to hold a tree. The rec department always called it the Charlie Brown tree. And that tree is just no longer there. So this pad and this sculpture would replace that.
Great.
And if anyone hasn't yet, we encourage you to walk the Allony Greenway. Maybe we can provide you with this picture to really look at each of the locations too, so you can you can really visualize. The one that Lee mentioned last, the Dartmouth Circle, is just what we call it internally. It's really quite, it's 21 feet in diameter, so it's quite large. Liam and I met with an architect, and he actually had some very interesting ideas on how to engage the community in that space, that it wouldn't just be a pedestal with a sculpture, that perhaps you could involve some, it would be a little bit more raised, and it would include some seating so that it would be a congregation site when we can actually congregate again. So anyways, those are all things Liam and I are working on with the contractor, that he will get back to us with some ideas. And then what we'll have to do is come back to the committee for a final design. And also with that is going to come a price tag as well. So you see on the PAPP, maybe Liam, if you could scroll down to the PAPP, it was $10,000, which was set aside for the sculpture loan program. And what that includes is 3 artist stipends for, oh, that helps, thank you. 3 artist stipends of $1,000 each, placards at each location, and the pads. And as I mentioned, the Meet Me at the Corner does not need a pad. The spirals will only need a very small pad. And then there's an opportunity to really make a statement at the Dartmouth Circle. So in the reason the work plan is on the agenda today is because one of the first, the new committee being appointed, one of your first acts will be to create the next 2-year work plan. So this might be something where we increase this amount because the Arts Committee decides that they do want to concrete a 21-foot diameter circle is what we are coming, that was what was decided on at a committee meeting, and by Jenny Holland, who's a previous member, and it can be quite expensive. And so we just need to look at that, and hopefully what staff will do is get a better idea of speccing out what the architect cost will be, as well as what that big circle would cost. And we can come back to you on that.
Eva, I've got
sure.
two questions. One is, did we lose the money from the
WW?
The match.
yeah, there was some
The Creek Art.
was it like half the money was supposed to come from some BART project or something?
It was measured WW, and Cheryl mentioned the Creek Art, that it was going to be transferred over, and staff will have to look into that and see if that has expired or if that's still available. So we can get back to you on that one.
And general question, do you know how much is in the Art and Public Places Fund at the moment?
The last I looked, it was around 90,000, and we can get back to you with an official amount. It does change, so we can get back to you with official amount.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Just another quick question for you. And this probably shows up somewhere, but how long are the works on loan for?
It's a 2-year loan.
2-year
Yeah,
loan.
and because this project, this is the first time Albany has done a sculpture loan program. So obviously it will take longer this first time, and then the hope is that we'll have a process that we can follow in subsequent years. But it is a 2-year process. An RFP did go out, and the Arts Committee came to a meeting, and the Arts Committee did select 3 artists. Jenny Holland, again, who I know you know, and many of the members on the committee know as well, worked really hard with the artists to explain the process and that it is taking longer. Last I heard, and Member Black is going to take on the sculpture loan program. Thank you. And the artists are still willing to donate their statues. So at this point, it is, we still have those 3 on loan.
And who covers the cost of transporting the work?
That is the artist. The artist is responsible for the installation. And I believe that's, in talking to other cities who do sculpture loan, that's pretty standard. And that is, the $1,000 is aimed to help with defer the cost. But having said that, our staff, Public Works, because it is an installation and it is a project on city property, would be there to assist and make sure that everything is being accounted for. Nothing was damaged.
It seems like that most of the costs were explained when I read it, but I wondered about like the insurance costs of having like a large sculpture like that. Like what if it fell over, or what if it got hit by lightning, or someone threw paint on it or something? I mean, what's the insurance for that?
Well, as far as the maintenance goes, that's on the artist as well. And there will be, this is one thing that it's in draft form at this point, but there would be a contract between the city and the artist as well. And exactly as you're saying, that would all be written out as far as a hold harmless agreement. And the city attorney would have to sign off on that as well. And again, that's pretty standard.
Okay, so they do maintenance, but what if it was our fault something happened to it?
In installation?
No, not in the installation. I'm saying that what if someone purposely damaged the art? A citizen did it.
Yeah, I don't have a contract in front of me. We can look at that and we can.
Oh, so it's in the contract.
It will be all written in
the
the
covered in the contract.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's pretty standard language. And we've talked to several other cities. So all of it is pretty, I keep saying it, but it's pretty standard as far as sculpture loan programs, that the artist is taking a lot of responsibility, putting out in public,
Sure,
that they're acknowledging that there could be some damage just due to lightning or whatever. Sure.
Well, Eva, how likely is it that the city is actually going to help to get these pads built? This seems, I mean, if those pads had been done a year and a half ago, I think when this was all started, those sculptures would all be in there. And we did get the impression that the city didn't really consider it much of a priority. Is there any way to get that work moving ahead?
And I think to touch on that, I think, we were kind of heading down to the right, and what we realized is there was a roadblock. And so now we're kind of going to the left. And that, so Liam and I have taken it on ourselves to reach out to architects, and we found one local. He even suggested a local concrete Albany guru, who's very well known. So there's lots of ideas floating as far as how we can really make this an Albany centric project. And he's committed. He doesn't live in Albany, but it seems like it would be a nice fit. So my hope is what I've seen in the last few months. I think with COVID, that was a roadblock. And so everything within the department and the city kind of took a back seat. But I really do see it rolling right now too. So I'm really hopeful that this can happen this year.
Okay.
Ava, if one were to want to increase the artist stipend, at what point would that get proposed in this process?
Mm-hmm. Good question. This sculpture loan project is not going to be complete before the committee. Let me back up. The committee is going to start working on their next work plan here very soon. And I think that would be the perfect opportunity to revise this number again, because we have new committee members, and I think we've just done a lot more research into what it costs to run a sculpture loan program. The idea is that, let's take Dartmouth Circle, for example. If the committee decides they really want to make this a piece, a congregating piece, and it is going to cost, throwing a number out, $20,000 just for that pad, that cost is, right, that's just a one-time cost. So it's just up front. Same with the other pad. You build that smaller pad, but then after that, all you're doing is just getting the statue in there too. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's a good segue there as well, Member Gatch, because the idea came from the work plan, and then again the projects plan is where the discussion happens about how much is needed for the different elements of it, what is to be divvied up to the work and to the contractors, and then the council clearly reviews both items, and so having a good distinct line between the two is extremely helpful for them. Yeah, thank you, Eva. I just wanted to echo one more point that Eva said, is that we are going to continue to work on this and make our next work plan, right? So a good point of today is kind of reviewing that, just as the members have, about what has been successful and what we could add on to things we've done in the past. Are there any more questions about sculpture loan? Again, I don't think we need to spend too much time on it, but yeah, the Creek art was just, unfortunately, it couldn't come together between us and the artist. There were some right-of-way difficulties that we had because the work was being put on the Ohlone Greenway, as well as just some difficulties communicating with the artist. So the Creek art was not completed. Okay, and then the community projects, another quick update currently on community projects. We are still in communication with the artist, with the previous artist for the community project that we received an application for, Christian Muniz, breaking down stereotypes through muralism, off the top of my head, I believe was the name of it. And then that is more, the staff is working on the correct actions. It is a private business that the mural was slated to go on, so there is a very delicate contract balance between public art and private citizen or private ownership. So that is just another thing that staff will come back to the committee on, the community projects. So we'll continue to have the community projects obviously on our work plan, and then we will adjust our PAPP, the mechanism for spending appropriately, with input from Eva and myself. The community projects, you can see it down here, is down into the other projects. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, Eva, but they're the only differentiate between those is it's not that it would, the idea, the work, the budgeting and such would come from the community members and not so much driven by the committee, which is just why it's segmented on the PAPP in that way. Okay, is there any more questions on how the PAPP works, or the previous PAPP, or any money? Again, Sarah, you're the newer member here. We discussed this a little bit, but the Art and Public Places Fund that Peter mentioned is a 1.75% portion of any development in the city over $500,000, commercial development in the city over $500,000. If the developer contractor does not decide to use that money appropriate in that amount for public art on their location, they then give it to the city, and the Arts Committee, which you're now a member of, works on spending that money for public art. Again, using the work plan in unison with the PAPP.
So one of the things that we decided, I guess must have been 2 years ago, was that there wasn't really very much money in the fund to do something, I wouldn't say monumental, but something significant, and that we thought it better to wait to see if the fund would build up, and then have another look at it too before we, to decide if we wanted to take any of the areas that were earmarked on the master plan as being suitable for public art to develop them. I think since then the amount of money in the fund really hasn't changed very much at all. So it would be up to us to discuss again this year whether over the next 2 years we want to take some of that money and develop another public art project, or wait until we can do something better with it. Neither us nor the city is in a rush to do anything.
And I'll also add that we'll have members from community development come in the first half of the year too, to present if there are any projects coming up that there might be some funds coming to the fund in the near future.
Right. There might be small projects based in the community or generated by the community that we could participate in, but nothing large. Because we don't have enough money to do anything particularly large. And the key sites around the city identified by the master plan seem to demand something more substantial, but not necessarily. We're open to all sorts of different ideas, and well, at the next meeting, there might be some things that people have thought about, might be, bring up for discussion to see if there's some way of making that as part of our work plan over the next 2 years.
Okay.
Peter, would you like to take the fall into haiku or spring into haiku?
Yeah, I can just briefly comment on a couple of these things. And Cheryl, you were, and Aaron, you were around for a while last year also and fill in any details. Fall into haiku was supposed to happen. It did happen in year 2019. It did not happen in year 2020. Hoping to have something come up in 2021. That's that's an agenda item that's following. So I'll leave the discussion of that till then. We had some very brief collaborations with the Economic Development Committee. A couple of us attended some of their meetings, took notes. I think we had some conversation, but nothing concrete is generated out of that. But that's a very key point. That's a key part of what our mission of the committee is, to be to make sure that our projects are have some I guess economic payoff, or that they're tied into what the merchant community in town wants to do, that the art supports it, or it'd be good if the art supported it. I'll note here too that I saw that there was a resolution passed of the city council last Monday that said that the at-large appointment by the city council to the arts committee should be someone, or could be someone from the business community, and that person needn't live in Albany, but had to have some sort of close business tie to Albany, as a way of making sure that the arts committee and the commercial interests of the town were properly aligned. I don't know if that's the right term for it. Not talking about us, doing a lot of commercial art or anything, but they wanted to make sure that the voice of business was heard in our deliberations. So Cheryl, you can speak to the community center. Let me just, the poet laureate, Rebecca Black's term has ended. We do not currently have a poet laureate. Not sure what to do about that. Talk about the art in public places, citywide program. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say on the items here. Cheryl, do you want to give a summary of the
as far as the
gallery?
what happens at the gallery? We do 4 shows a year. We usually send out a call for submissions spring, usually in June, and then to have all the art submitted by August, by the 3rd week in August, and then in September is when we one of our meeting in September is usually the one where we choose the art for the coming year. And so Liam or Eva lays it out, and then we go through and we vote on what we're interested in having as in our shows for the first, as I said before, we had this year, which our shows begin in January. So we are one show. So we have 3 shows waiting to go. And there's no point in really choosing new shows until we know when we'll be open again and having more people wait for us. So that's my feeling about that. I don't know. I don't think there's much else to say about how that works. There is a fee, obviously, to apply. Peter does make the postcards. And what are we charging them these days? 25?
Yes, $25.
50? $25. So we charge them 25, and that will include the cost of the postcard. So we get 250 postcards. I send them out, I put them in various places, and the artist gets 250 postcards, and they send them out to their people. We have an opening.
Cheryl, you're frozen.
And the goodies and things we have up to our game, and I'm frozen. Okay.
For me,
I'm
anyway.
frozen.
It was the gala opening, Cheryl, where you were at.
Okay, so we have opening for each show. We've upped our game in terms of that, and we no longer doing plasticware. We now have real canning glasses that we use. I saw at an event, and I donated them to the gallery, so we have them. So it's just a nicer approach to things. And that's really about it.
Okay, thank you. So Liam, what should we be doing for our next meeting? Should we be mulling these things over and seeing how many we want to continue, and then possibly coming up with other projects that we want to suggest to the committee, and thinking about how they might move forward, how they might be done, where they fit in with our mission, etc.?
Certainly. Yeah. Another thing to think about is, projects down the line. Just the two at the bottom there, the research opportunities. I think we should mention that 2 past members were working on those. So things to think about as the community moves forward, about who will join these subcommittees, who will do the work on a lot of them. Another thing to keep in mind is that we potentially could have some new members in next month or the following months after that. So we might want to refresh some of these as well. So those are a couple of next steps points to it. Each year is different. I went up here to the top of this, and it looks like it was approved by the council April 15th. So we're about 3 months away from that. So I think we're definitely on schedule with that. And then just one more quick note for all of the committee members. Peter had mentioned city council approval of kind of following in line with their goals. That is the final sentence on this work plan. It says items included in the 2019 to 2021 policy review and initiatives support council strategic goals of promote business vitality and advance economic development in the arts. The city council will probably come up with some new strategic goals, and you will need to kind of follow in line with those. So other things to think about, whether it's promoting the business community or public art or whatever, we will want your initiatives for the following work plan to kind of coincide with those.
Well, the council is interested in knowing how it fits in with that. I mean, there's art for art's sake, but then there's also the other component.
Correct. And they have a few new council members as well. So there's always opportunity for those strategic goals to shift and pivot.
Something that's, of course, it's not on this one because it's an old one, but we had a Black Lives Matter subcommittee. I don't know that. So that would be something else that would be on the upcoming work plan.
Absolutely, I think so, and that's just another one of the topics that has been ongoing on agenda items, and I think that those fit perfectly into a work plan. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. So this is something for us to think about between now and the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
And real quick, Peter, did you want to talk to, because this is something that's we put on the work plan, there's the updates to the public art master plan. We definitely talked about adding information on the community outreach and outlining what that looks like based on previous projects and how to move forward with that. And if there were any other updates, we were kind of waiting on that. to see if there were other updates. You remember? Oh, he might be frozen. Peter.
I don't think he is.
Oh, he's not. He's just silent. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying you're shaking my head.
You're shaking your head. No other updates. Okay.
And there are, to that point as well that Eva made, there are ones on here that is important to have the kind of foresight to keep them on there for work you want to do. This is a 2-year document. I mean, it can be amended and gone back through council, but you want to do what's on your work plan and you want the council to know exactly what you're working on as well. So whether it's, poet laureate, the committee isn't sure what that project is going to look like, or the public arts master plan, sometimes it's important to keep it on there to have that piece for discussion at future meetings.
Right, because if it's not on the work plan, someone has a great idea, but we can't move it forward because it's not on the work plan. So.
And I'll also add to, as you start, the wheels start turning on what individually you would like to contribute to the arts committee, is that every item on this work plan, there was at least 1 or 2 committee members assigned to that. So just start thinking about, especially to the new members too, of what is it that you want to be involved with? What are your passions, and how do you want to leave your mark? So including at the bottom of the work plan is the BART pillars. That was member Schneider was really passionate about that, and he had worked with BART. And so if somebody would like to take that over, he would be able to, I'm sure, provide some information and guidance. But there's might be opportunity, or there might be projects that aren't on the work plan that we can bring up and you might be passionate about, and we can put your name by that item.
And Eva, the public art master plan is on there. That context of that discussion is to broaden the definition of what public art is and what the, right? I mean,
And you're referring to the ordinance?
Yeah.
The ordinance, yeah, there is one on there. We kept it pretty vague
right.
for various reasons, but mostly because the city staff and the city attorney had, I think this was in limbo when this had 2 years ago had been put on the work plan. But yeah.
Okay, well, let me discuss that next time then. So is that okay? Anyone have any questions on the work plan, the PAPP? Okay.
We had a public comment before you move on, Peter.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Go
Hi,
ahead,
thank
Jeremiah.
you very much. Hi, thank you. It looks like we have some good goals for the years, and we've been working on some things. I think that's really wonderful. Yeah, I was just wondering, maybe I forgot where the Black Lives Matter, that subcommittee, whether or not that mural was, I think we're trying to get $5,000 or $6,000 for that, and ideas were jumped around when maybe that money should go toward a scholarship. Maybe I've been out of the loop to where I don't know, was that mural ever painted? If not, I hope we're still working on that. Yeah, and then one thing I noticed is the beautiful artwork that is on the Buchanan public artwork on the fence at Ocean View. There were all those tiles that each student painted, and it was right there on Buchanan. It was just really beautiful to see, all the kids' work. I like the saying, fall into haiku, kind of like, have a nice trip, see you next fall thing, and kind of just falling into haiku. And then I'm really, for the arts and public parks, and open spaces, regarding increased visibility and awareness of arts in Albany. I was just wondering, like, maybe we could make the kiosk on Solano and Curtis. Yeah, Solano and Curtis, that kiosk. Maybe we could beautify it a little bit and do some artwork and make it look nice, kind of thing. And so yeah, and my other last thing I want to say is for future artwork, it'd be nice if we found a space for public artwork to where we could continually adding on to it every year. Like we could start like maybe like a timeline art. Like in 2020, we could paint a picture of a mask and, you know, something else that happened that year. And 2021, we could take pictures of, you know, little symbols or something, I guess, of what happened this year. And next year, we could just keep adding to it so we could have like a visual timeline about things that happened. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Good. So if move on to the next item, which is 6-4 Spring into Haiku. I can really probably talk more about that next month. The short answer is I'm not really any farther on this than I was in November because we're still waiting to hear from the city. I don't know exactly what the city wants to do regarding my proposal to expand it out using Facebook. But rather than go into all those details now, why don't we just postpone that until next month? Because I don't really have anything new to add. My intent is to still carry this out, but I just don't know in what form that's going to happen. Okay, so that's it. Unless someone has any questions about the Haiku program. No. Okay.
If there's no staff comments, we do have one public comment I can bring.
Sorry, what?
One public comment, so I'll go ahead and bring Jeremiah in to talk about
Okay.
the Haiku program.
Okay.
Thank you. The Haiku program is really great. I believe, yeah, this fall we didn't have one for whatever reason. I remember walking up and down Solano and all over Albany. I miss those things. They're really beautiful to read, little messages. Those are so beautiful, and I really look forward to bringing those back in Albany. I know my wife Elaine really loved those things. I just really think those haikus are wonderful. They're always posted everywhere, and it even says, you know, the poet, you know, the poet's name. And it's beautiful. We have a lot of talented people in Albany. I mean, Albany's full of talented individuals. I mean, people go on and become authors of books, and people become great people in this world. And we have all these talents. And I'm not sure if there's a maximum of haikus. I saw a lot of double ones. You know, I see the same haiku in a couple locations. But maybe we could open it up for more poets to get acknowledged. And I would just really hope the outreach goes towards maybe school curriculum, especially in the art class, you know, whether it's elementary school, middle school, or high school. I hope the students get to be aware of this because they're kind of going into summer and kids are let out of school. So maybe the sooner we could let students know about this, the better. At least they could start working on some haikus. And if possibly, after my comment, could you just explain, that way it's on record on this meeting, what a haiku is? It was a 575 or 757. I don't remember. It's been so long. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful educational thing. And I really do miss them. They had little pictures of leaves on them. And it's so wonderful. And I really miss it. So I can't wait, you know, to bring it back. I just wish it could happen soon. And yeah, I think the special ed classes, you know, in the Albany schools, it could give an opportunity for a special ed student to have their work noticed. And, you know, people are so creative. And I just hope we get students' input. And I hope public outreach is happening soon. That way the 60-day public outreach thing happens sooner than later. So I just thank you all for this arts committee. What a wonderful committee, because art's very important. And yeah, Facebook's good. I know it takes up paper to put it on, to publicly display it. But yeah, so can you remind me what a haiku is, please?
Yeah, thank you, Jeremiah. For the record, haiku is a small, a very short poem. Began in, it comes out of a Japanese literary tradition, is written with 17 syllables in English. And in other Western languages, they usually break it into 3 lines of maybe 5 syllables. In Japan, it's always written as a single line, or generally written as a single line. And sometimes where one line ends and another one begins is not clear because they use a lot of puns and special verbal tricks and clues. But it's like a breath, and it's a moment of realization or intuition, or just like a photograph captures a very brief scene, usually related to the season or to a particular occasion. Thank you for that.
I want to interject
encouraging.
too and just give you a little bit of credit, Member Goodman, too. This was Member Goodman's idea several years ago, and it's been such a delight, as you can hear in our public comment too. Just people look forward to seeing it every year around town, and it's just a fun little drop of art in Albany, and then it disappears. And I think that's kind of part of the illusion and mystique to it. It's really sweet. So thank you for all of your hard work over the years too.
Well, you're welcome. It's fun, and it's nice to see that people like it. So hopefully it'll be back in spring or maybe in fall. But I'm hopeful that we can do it in the spring. So for next meeting, then think about the work plan. The future agenda items would include the election of officers. Even by then, maybe the staff will have figured out the how that Carol's mural is going to be presented. You'll have the
yes. What were you were just wanting? We'll
yeah,
have an
just
update.
an update
We'll have an
on
update.
what the staff has come up with as far as the public outreach part of it. I think some of the language is going to be changed also. And does anyone have any things that they want to bring up at the next meeting for sure?
And just to clarify, this agenda item, future agenda items, is an opportunity for committee members to suggest items that would go on future work agendas. However, it's up to the chair and the liaison then to figure out exactly what the next month's agenda looks like. And so sometimes just to put it out there, if you mention something and it does go on this agenda item, it may or may not be on the subsequent month too.
But
So that's up to the chair.
if you have any suggestions for agenda items, you can send them directly to Eva and to Liam.
Yeah, and usually 2 weeks before a meeting is a good timeline, just because then that gives staff the opportunity to work with the chair, check with and do any research that they need to do, and decide if it will go on the agenda.
And Eva, would you do me a favor? I was neglectful. I did not thank Carol for putting up with all of our comments. Would you make sure that she gets a big thank you from the committee for her coming and putting it forward? I know she's put a lot of work on it.
Absolutely.
I don't want her to get discouraged or feel that we're picking on her. And I mean, we pick on everybody in exactly the same way. So she shouldn't feel like she's been singled out.
Well, and you guys did a great job of, and staff too, of describing the process as well too. So.
Yeah. Okay. Then, sorry, this has been a very long meeting. Thank you everyone for all your patience.
Yeah, and just quick side note to everybody, if you're just used to emailing Eva, the message will always get to me, but we are in 2021. I am kind of taking over
I don't know which way you are.
Yeah, the more lead staff liaison position. So please email me if you have any questions, especially Sarah and Aaron, some of the newer members. And then keep an eye out for your in your email boxes, because just a quick reminder, Ann Sue, who was our city clerk on earlier, sent you some documents and she needs wet ink signatures. So sign it with a pen. And I can't remember, I think she mentioned mailing. You can also drop it off, but we can make it work. So contact us if you have any difficulties with that.
Okay, then, as far as I know, we do not need a motion to adjourn, so we are adjourned.
Have a safe drive home,
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Peter, for leading us.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thanks, everyone.